deadline coming up tomorrow at 4 where they got to come up with their final roster. So they still have a few hours to play around. Let's look at what the roster looks like as far as the secondary is concerned, at least at this moment. There you see Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams. We don't know about the extent of that injury, do we, on Greedy?
No, and they won't say. And the longer he's nowhere to be seen, the more concerned I get about that shoulder injury. They could play with that roster spot and put him on injured reserve so they're able to keep an extra corner that maybe they would end up cutting or trying to slide through to the practice squad. But
what about Kevin Johnson? Just when you talk about the liver, that's kind of scary. What do we know about him?
Well, the good news is Kevin's at least back in the building. He's on the field. He's doing some calisthenics on the side. I don't think he's ready to jump back and put the pads on or anything like that. But the fact that a couple of days or less than a week after suffering that lacerated liver loss, he was back on the side doing some calisthenics, great sign there.
All right, continuing on in the secondary here, you've got Terrence Mitchell, Donovan Olumba, and M.J. Stewart. Then we move to the safeties, Carl Joseph. Now you add Ronnie Harrison to that mix, Andrew Sendejo, and Sheldrick Redwine. I'll tell you what, he's a guy you haven't heard much of, and all of a sudden you look at it and says, if he can produce, that changes the whole outlook and makeup of that unit.
Yeah, and Carl Joseph, I think, will end up being a starter. He's coming off foot surgery. They bounced him in and out throughout this camp just to make sure he's not overdoing it. They did the same thing with Jarvis Landry. They've also done it with Odell Beckham Jr. But right now I've got Joseph and Harrison as my starting safeties. Sheldrick Redwine has made some plays in camp. Sendejo has made some plays in camp. Both of those players I think are intriguing, but I don't think that either one of them are ready to jump into the starting lineup, hence today's trade.
All right, so here's